Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie Wiley, and I am doing my podcast on toxic masculinity. And I'm actually going to start off with reading a few paragraphs from an article that I found just to kind of break down what toxic masculinity actually is and how the dynamics of it actually affect the organization and what causes a lot of people to have to deal with the toxic masculinity, which is mainly women that are going to deal with a lot of the problems from men and how they are going to suggest that women are just do better at certain things, or because they're a woman they do this, or because they're a woman they do that. So to start off, a few scenarios that are actually taken from this article is a break room conversation among men turns into a discussion about the appearance of the women in the office. One of the men puts a new intern on the spot, asking him which woman he finds attractive. The young man is uncomfortable with this topic, but sputters out an answer, and later he is ashamed of himself for succumbing to the pressure. And then another example is a man and a woman from the same sales team with a large account. Win a large account. The team manager gives full credit to the man, who later receives a pay increase. The woman's salary stays the same. She is told, "Your numbers just weren't there." When the woman questions the manager about getting no credit for the sale, he brushes her off and saying it was a team effort and she should be a better team player. So these situations reveal a culture of toxic masculinity, and sometimes known as masculinity contest culture, which results in a hostile work environment and undermines efforts to achieve diversity, equity, and inclusion. The efforts of toxic masculinity are harmful to both women and men, and however, women, racial and ethnic minority groups, and those who identify as LGBTQ bear the brunt of the macroaggressions and overly dominant behaviors associated with the toxic masculinity. So the workplace psychiatrists, a workplace psychiatrist say, left unchecked, toxic masculinity will ruin an organization's culture. So going from there, I'm actually going to explain one other thing from this article, which is by SHRM, which is abbreviated for a college, but I'm not exactly sure what the name of the college is. And it was actually written by Holly Althoff on March 6th of 2021. And another part in this article states that clinical psychologist and author Dr. Ellen Hendrickson says toxic masculinity occurs when respect and differences are mistakenly conflated. Traditional masculinity typically involves the expectation of respect or admiration for one's abilities or accomplishments. Respect can be equal and reciprocal between colleagues. It doesn't imply ranking or hierarchy. But toxic masculinity is different. Hendrickson says because those who practice it call for differences, they believe others should comply with the rules or submit to them. That automatically creates a peaking order. So what I'm going to explain to this that actually has to do with my work environment is I've been in my current role for almost 2.5 years. When I first began working there, I actually dealt with a lot of harassment and discrimination and a few other things against some personal things that I was going through. And a majority of that was because I had actually had a miscarriage, and I tried to continue to work, and I was told that I needed to go home. So I tried to work from home, and they denied my request to work from home. Well, after all of this, I have been dealing with a lot of harassment, of being threatened to be fired. If I didn't like my position, my manager would be gladly to accept my resignation. And it was just constantly push to try and get me to leave the company because Others had issues with the fact that I was out for medical reasons, and I was out for surgeries and ectopic pregnancy and 2 other miscarriages. And on top of all that, I had to deal with trying to find PTO time to cover my time that I was out and use FMLA and a few other things. So to kind of nip this in the butt, I just decided that it would be fair for me to just send a written documentation to the CEO of the company, along with all of the evidence that I had actually had to go with this, which I'm not going to show a lot of the details, but I will show some of the documents that I have, just so that way it's there and we all can see. But here's some of the documents that show that I've had to deal with a lot of discrimination against my company that I currently work for. And a lot of it, I have to deal with a lot of code of conduct issues, a lot of just unacceptable behavior, and then being left out of certain things. Here recently, I had celebrated my birthday, and the coworkers, including myself, on previous birthdays, we all pitched in and bought birthday cakes and balloons for other coworkers, but I was not a part of that. They did not do any of that when my birthday came around. There was another email sent out regarding that, because that again is, and it can be considered discrimination against me, because somebody or some buddies in the office just don't want to do things for myself or leave me out of certain things just because they have conflict with me over the abilities I have at work. So in all reality, it's important to not let people use their masculinity to become toxic to you, or to cause you to decide that you should leave a company just because others are trying to walk all over you, or trying to use their masculinity or even their femininities against you, which in all reality, everybody should be treated equally and fairly. So thank you.